the inferior angle. Come to the top, that is be the superior angle. And then we're going to move on to the spine. So the spine right here would be the clavicle spine. On this side, you would have the vertebral border, and so eventually it goes to vertebral, and then you'll come over through here to be the axillary border, kind of going where the armpit is, and then you will find the acromion process right up here. It is between the clavicle and the humerus. And then we're going to move on over to the greater tubercle and the lesser tubercle. And the greater tubercle is right here. And kind of whenever you internally rotate, you feel the greater tubercle move, and then when you do the inner rotation, you will find the inner one of it, inner tubercle. And then we'll move over to the muscles, shoulder girdle muscles. And so we are going to start off with the upper traps. So eventually the upper traps kind of starts up through here, and it goes down over here to the right, and it kind of ends up in the lateral third of the clavicle, and it really ends up where the acromion process is located at. And then also the upper traps is kind of where it goes towards like the lifting of the shoulders. It kind of pulls your shoulders up. And then the lower traps is kind of lower. It really ends up in the T-spine, and it kind of ends up over here for the lower traps. And it really ends up the lower traps ends up with the spine of the scapula. And then this is contraction, kind of like pulling your back together, kind of putting your clavicles together in the back. And then the C7 vertebrae, right about T6, maybe T5 at most, you're going to have your lymphoids. And then it actually really inserts right there in this vertebral border right over here. And that helps with retraction of the scapulas. And then we're going to go on over to the serratus anterior. It really originates over here on the ribs on the side, kind of on the very lateral side. And then it's going to rise up through here, up there around the scapula, and it ends up in the interior of the scapula. And then it ends up inserting on the vertebral border of the scapula. And then that really helps with protraction to bring in your shoulders forward. And that helps the serratus anterior do that action. And then we're going to go on to the deltoid muscles, which they are kind of located right through here. It's kind of hard because it's not kind of located right through here. It's kind of hard because it's not really focused on this. The inner deltoid, the middle deltoid, and posterior deltoid. And the inner deltoid, middle deltoid, posterior deltoid. So it kind of ends up, the inner kind of ends up where the lateral clavicle and the very lateral clavicle ends up in the inner tuberosity. And then the middle deltoid, and then so the middle deltoid helps with horizontal adduction and abduction. And then the middle deltoid, that was posterior deltoid. So the middle deltoid and it will originate kind of at the acromion process of the clavicle, and then it will be and it will insert in the deltoid tuberosity, and this will also help with abduction. And so abduction is going all the way up, putting your arm all the way up. And then kind of, we're going to have the posterior deltoid. Well, this is, the first one is inner deltoid, this is posterior deltoid. So it originates in the scapular spine, and it really kind of travels through here, and it really inserts in the deltoid tuberosity over here, and that does the external rotation of the shoulders, not just moving your arm up, back, and then we're gonna move on to the what is it? The rotator cuff muscles. And we're going to start off with the supraspinatus, and then we're going to do we'll just do all the supraspinatus. So it's going to insert right up here. It ends up at the supraspinous fossa, which is kind of right up through here, and it's just actually superior of the spine of the scapula. And it will actually travel through all the way through here, and it ends up over here where the greater tubercle is located. And you really do find that when you do the inner rotation of the shoulder. And so this helps with adduction. This helps with adduction. And then we have the infraspinous, and it is really located right up here in Tom, so it ends up on the infraspinous fossa, and it is inferior to the spine of the scapula, so it's going to be just a little bit below it. Excuse me. And then it inserts on the greater tubercle as well, which so both spinuses do end up on the greater tubercle. And that one does the external rotation of the shoulder joint. And then we have teres minor, which is located right here. So, and it's going to kind of come, it's best if they're laying down, face down on the ground, but we're going to just kind of go with this. So it just really helps flex the elbow. And then it does originate on the, it does actually originate on the axillary border, ends up where the armpit is, right over here, and it actually ends up on the greater tubercle as well through there. And then we would have the subscapularius for the last part. And then so it's kind of, if we would have the muscles up here, so it's going to end up on the anterior surface of the subscapularis fossa. So it's going to be really down right here where the armpit is, right through here. And it inserts on the lesser tubercle. If you can actually really see that on an external rotation of the shoulder. All right. And now we're going to move on to the latissimus dorsi. This originates from T7 to L5. It's going to be the lower part of the thoracic spine, all the way down to the L5 area, all the way down to the bottom. And that is the biggest muscle with the shoulder joints, is that. So you are going to kind of see it pull all the way over here to the axillary border through there. So it really ends up on the humerus, which is the elbow. And then that does the adduction, abduction, and inner rotation of the muscles. Oh, I think that it would be it. I appreciate it.